Hello everyone, and welcome to Evilly Noosh stroke Hilrson William episode 2. At the end of episode 1, our man, with very few brain cells, had called Denise and was trying to explain to her what he did as an electronics engineer. He was struggling, so he disappeared. A few minutes later, he called her again. I've left the spaces in so you can hear how fast his brain cells were working.
Hello again, darling.
Hello, I'm back.
Oh, hello again, darling. Nice to speak to you again.
Okay. Can I ask? Please, can I ask you?
Yeah, of course.
Can I ask you a little question?
Ask me what?
Okay. Why do you want to know my work? I told you I'm an electronics engineer and you are doubting me. Are you? And you don't believe me? You don't trust me?
Well, I just want to know what you do. What are you working on?
I told you I'm an electronics engineer. You don't believe me?
I didn't say
You don't trust me. What? Yeah?
I didn't say I don't believe you, but I want to know what you're working on. What do you do when you go to work? What did you do on Friday?
Okay. We do some designs and we develop some electricities in some cities. Yeah. That's what I want. That's what we do on Friday.
What do you mean you develop?
Okay?
What do you mean you develop some electricities? What does that mean?
That means
Are you still there, darling?
I'm still there. Well, I still want to know why you want to know my work. What?
Well, why wouldn't I want to know your work? I'm interested to know about you. So what did you mean by you develop electricities? What does that mean?
You don't understand. You need to understand it, okay?
Well, that's why I'm asking you to explain it to me.
I told you that we develop some electronics, some of lights. Okay?
You develop
Some
what?
lights.
Lights?
Yes, we design some lights. We develop some electronics from low level to high level. So that's what we do on Friday. So what we are going to do this on Monday, we are going to design it. You know what design means, sir, right?
I know what design means, yes, darling. I am 76. I can speak English.
Okay. Don't be bored. My English is not good. I hope you understand.
So what are you going to design on Monday then?
On Monday, we are going to design some device, electricity device. So we are going to design them on Monday.
Right, some device to do what? What kind of device?
Like portable device. Portable device.
A what device?
Do you understand?
Sorry, I didn't understand. A what device?
Portable device.
A portable device. Oh, portable device to do what? You mean something you can carry?
Yeah.
To do what?
Some music device and computers, electronics. Are you okay?
Am I okay? Of course I'm okay.
Okay. That's all.
So you design lights and you design computers, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. So which company do you work for? Which company do you work for?
I'm coming, okay?
No, which company do you work for? Don't you know who you work for, darling?
Our man disappeared. Denise, or to be exact, me, had had enough of him by then. And in a minute you're going to see how he changes from being one person to another in the chat. "You got cut off," said Denise. "Which company do you work for?" "Oh, OK, I'm back, honey," he said. "I work in a Commences electronic company." "What's a Commences electronic company?" she asked. "It's where we produce some electronic devices, OK?" "But what does Commences company mean?" she asked. "I don't really know why you want to know all this, honey," he said, struggling for an answer. "Because I'm interested to know about you," she said. "I don't really know why you don't know what you do at work. What's the name of the company you work for?" If you don't, when to your country, I'll explain bather, OK?" "I know what a bather is," said Denise. "Why can't you tell me now?" "If you don't understand, when I come to your country, I will explain bather." Sorry about the graphic here, I couldn't resist it. "You don't understand," he said. "I mean, you're not getting me, that's why, OK?" "So, just tell me what you do," she said. "Then I'll understand." "Don't worry about that. When I come, I will explain it to you very well, OK?" he said. "I know which company I work for," she said, "and I know what I used to do at work. I want you to explain it to me now." And notice there's a short gap in the conversation there, and I think that's when our man handed his phone to his mate. "What we do, OK?" he said. "Yeah," said Denise. "Explain what you do." "I will explain to you now," he said. "You still haven't told me which company you work for," she said. "That's the company I work," he said, "and I install softwares in computers as well." "Yes, what's the name of the company you work for?" she asked again. "And I impute firewalls into their system to prevent bridge." "Prevent bridge?" said Denise. "What does that mean?" "It prevents hackers from breaking into their system," he said. "Oh, OK," said Denise. "What's the name of the company you work for? Why do I have to ask you every question so many times?" "ESI Software Germany GmbH," he said. "This is one of the companies I work for as well. It's like a contract." "So you design lights and install software," said Denise. "That's a strange combination of things, isn't it?" "It's linked together," he said. "Oh, interesting. How are they linked?" she said. "Do you need lights to see where you're putting the software?" "You can use softwares to program lightning," he said. "They have components that are programmed, switches that are being controlled by sensors. These components need programming." "Oh, OK," said Denise. "You said you might be able to get a week's holiday to come and visit me before your contract finishes." "Yes, honey," he said. "I'm planning on retiring soon as well. I just want to retire and live my life, enjoy life with you. I haven't really had a good time for myself, but now I have to retire and live my life." "Aren't you too young to retire?" asked Denise. "No, honey," he said. "I can work from my house if I want to, but I just need to rest after this big project. There's this project that a friend linked me to. It's in Washington. A lot of the systems have been hacked, and they want me to come put firewalls on them." "In Washington?" she said. "So you aren't going to retire?" "I'm retiring after that project if I get it," he said. "That's the last project for me. Then I retire. It's a 2-month project." "The worth of the project is $2.5 million, he said. "I'm not supposed to say that to anyone, but I'm saying it to you because I trust you with my life. With such money, I can retire and enjoy life. Couldn't we all, mate?" "For 2 months' work?" said Denise. "My goodness." And this is the man who in the last video was designing lights and electricities. "Google about software," he said. "It's a very classified kind of job." "Google what about software?" asked Denise. "Do you know that an American company lost more than $6 billion to hackers some months ago?" he said. "No, I didn't," said Denise. "They don't have firewalls in their system," he said. "That's a lot of money," said Denise. "You can see that what they want to pay me is nothing compared to what they will lost if they're hacked," he said. "They don't have any choice but pay me that amount of money or risk being hacked. I'm planning on investing some of that money on cryptocurrency so I don't have to work never again." So now you're a cybersecurity expert, said Denise facetiously. Yes, he said, very good at it. Not an electronics engineer, said Denise. You changed jobs. I'm a software engineer, he said. That's not what you told me before, said Denise. Check our chats, he said. I don't know where you get that from. So Denise checked her chats and realised she's much better at using a computer than she's ever let on, and screenshotted the bit at the beginning of the previous video. Do you remember it? Where the previous man copied and pasted the definition of electronics. That's what you told me you did, she said. You defined electronics there, he said, not what I told you. No, darling, she said, you typed that. I told you I didn't know what an electric engineer does. That's exactly what you told me. Then it must be an error, he said, smacking his mate smartly round the chops. I'm a software engineer. So why did you tell me that? She asked. Not electric engineer, he said. Don't you know what you do? Asked Denise. I just told you, he said. It might be a typographical error. You typed 4 lines, and it was all a typographical error, said Denise. That's a big error. Yeah, he said. You have a responsible job for saving companies billions of dollars, and you can type 4 whole lines of rubbish. I wouldn't pay for one of your reports. How would I know which bits are true and which paragraphs are typographical errors? They don't have a choice, he said, as English is not my language, so I don't see it as a priority. Because obviously you're going to hire somebody and pay them millions of dollars if you're not going to understand their report and they don't see it as a priority to actually get it right. I know my job, he said. I hope so, said Denise, because you certainly didn't when you tried to explain it to me on Facebook. But I guess you've managed to work out what you do now. Always good to know what you do before you start a new contract. Sure, he said, all innocently. Call me again, said Denise, and tell me about your new contract. She was winding him up, because of course she knew that he wouldn't answer, because he couldn't, because if he did, she'd realise straight away that he wasn't the same man that she'd spoken to just a few minutes earlier. They argued for a bit, and then he said, I just told you what I do. If you don't want to believe me, then it's up to you. Gosh! But you keep changing what you tell me you do, said Denise. So which of things you've told me is true? You told me when you called that you were an electronics engineer, that you were designing lights, that you were designing electricity, and now you're a cybersecurity expert, and you tell me you aren't an electronics engineer. I'm not explaining nothing to you anymore, he said. If you're not listening, then it's your fault. You're just too difficult to explain anything to. And our man disappeared. Bye-bye. I hope you found this video, well, I usually say useful, but let's be honest. I hope you found this video a bit of fun. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please share it. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another video.